Yeah, there I am. All right, everybody, welcome into the High Noon stream, the High Noon Report, as we like to call it. I am Pugs Moran, and I do this every Monday through Friday, noon till, well, just about whenever. Let's see. Let me make sure the chat room is working. All right, chat looks like it's working good. Mondays are typically a little bit rough at the start because especially the Mondays following the weekends where I have my kid and I have my son this weekend. And I had to put everything away, and then I had to put everything back together, and everything I think is sounding good. Hi, Al. Al's first guy in the chat room. That's it. First guy in. That's Al. He wins. He's today's winner. What do we do on this show? Well, we like to give you all the day's current events, the hot topics, the trends, the headlines, whatever it is that people are talking about. I tell you about it. I say, this is what's trending. This is why. This is what I think. And then we move on. We don't get bogged down in stupid politics. I don't care who you voted for. Culture wars. I don't play that game. Although I do have hot takes on things. So I guess I do kind of play the culture war games. We'll see. We'll see. What I'm saying is this show attempts to be less divisive than every other talk gathering you can find, whether it be on the AM radio, the FM radio, on the streams, whatever. We're doing something for everybody else. We're doing something for the normies, as I like to cut the normies, just the people that want to know the state of Britney Spears' mental health. You know, you get that. That's what you get here. You know, you don't get crazy minutia. You don't get crazy little political bullshit that's just designed to do nothing but drive us nuts. We don't do that. You know what we do here? We talk about bridges that collapse. Yeah, we had a bridge collapse. We got all the things, all the other things that there are in this world for us to talk about, to chop it up, to get together and go, what do you think of that? All the other things that have nothing to do with the color blue or red. That's what we cover here on this show. Now, we do that eventually. We get to that part of the show where we do all the popping off, breaking events and all that stuff. We get to that eventually. But before we do, we like to do something that sets the table for it. We'd like to go back in history. So we do a little segment I call Erstwhile on this day, and that's where we basically just look at the events that have shaped this day throughout history. We're looking for rhythms. We're looking for patterns. We're looking for anything that could help us predict what we might expect in the coming hours. Then we go through some birthdays. We talk about the people who were born into the world on this day. Then we get into the deaths, people who have died, and we decide, do we care that they're dead or not? Because again, on this show, I cannot state enough. We have two absolutes. One, the world is filled with a-holes, and two, everybody dies. Thusly, a-holes died too. So that's what we like to do in the these are the people who've died. These are the people who've died segment. Do we care? All right. So what else do we got? Let's say hi to everybody. Hi, we got Rainey here. We got Leslie. We got the goat. We got Byron. We got another Leslie. We got Mama Beller. We got Whitney. Okay, everybody, come on in. Grab your beanbag chairs. Form your soul circle of life. Join hands. And let's be as optimistic as we possibly can for the next couple of hours, because it is rainy, boy. It is some garbage out there today, huh? Well, actually, it's not garbage yet, as I do the show here from the beautiful 1%er compound high atop, I was going to say, slightly overcast Highland Park. Rain's coming, though. Boy, we had rain all last night. We'll get to it in the trends. That's right. Texas hail is trending because we had some of that last night. There's a video circulating out there that is really cool. It's a little kid, and by little, I mean 10. He's like a little 10-year-old, and he's wearing his baseball uniform, and he is standing like on a porch, like a covered porch. So he's not being pelted, but he is standing on the edge of a covered porch somewhere here in North Texas last night, and he is taking batting practice using falling hailstones. They were big. They were like baseballs. And this kid is just sitting there going, just clocking them as they come down. Just clocking them. It's a great video. If you see it, if I see it, I'll play it. You know what? I didn't think to save it. I was like, that's not news. And now here I am talking about it as if it is news. All right, let's get started. As always, I like to remind you this show runs on your gratuities. If you feel compelled at any point during the next couple of hours to tip the show for a job well done, or maybe you want me to shut up, I can be bought. You can drop a little something in the Venmo or the Cash App. Thank you to everybody who helped us out last month. It was a grind. It always is, but you did it. You did it again. All right, let's get into all of the things that are happening today, right? Let's start this show. Hold on. Let me get my computer into the proper position. Okay. Had a good weekend. Did you guys have a good weekend? We went out to the lake on Saturday. It was an absolutely marvelous day. Thank you to the lovely Cerullos for hosting us out there. Wonderful time on Lake Louisville. Saw no snakes, saw no alligators, and the biggest development of the weekend out there on the lake is that the boy, the 14-year-old, who is now lake legal, as we call it, lake legal. He's now at 14. You are lake legal to be out there on a sea-doo by yourself. He soloed for the very first time. Not the very first time. The very first time legally. Let's say that. Let's say he went out and he soloed, said, "Dad, I'm going to take the jet ski out. You mind?" And I'm like, "Well, you're legal." And he went out. Oh, I was so proud. Also very big moment. You see his fabulous Uncle E, who provides these wonderful lake days that we are so grateful for. He Uncle E has two Sea-Doos. He because you have to have two, I guess. I don't know. Most people, struggle to buy one. He just bought two, and they're gorgeous. Like, they are just like so here's what he was thinking, and this is why it's so interesting to go out there with him, because he's got all the toys. He was thinking one of the Sea-Doos that he purchases needs to be the Rolls Royce of Sea-Doos. It needs to be the one that you can carry multiple people. It's got to be, it's got to have a powerful engine. So that's the one Sea-Doo. And then the other one, he was like, well, that one's got to be a Lamborghini. It's got to be a Lamborghini. And the boy, the 14-year-old, was out there on the Lamborghini one over the weekend. He was out. But come on, we're not crazy. We're not insane parents. He had the restrictor key in, which only allows it to go up to 40 miles an hour. Not the 80 plus that the Lamborghini of Lake Louisville does. So very good weekend. And then yesterday we spent all day in the pool playing Marco Polo. And we escaped with no sunburns. That is so good for us. We are two humans with the complexion of Scotch tape. So you have to stay diligent with the sunscreen. And by the way, I think I found the sunscreen that works best for me. I think I found the sunscreen that allows me to still get a little bit of color with absolutely no burn. And that would be SPF 50. I always went with like the higher ones. I always went with the complete black, just cover me completely. SPF 50. It's working for me and my boy. He got wonderful color. And I'm like, "Are you burned?" He's like, "No, not at all." I'm like, "And you look like that?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "This is working." SPF 50 for people with complexion like me. All right. Hi, Al. Al's here. Jeff's here. I was waiting for Jeff. That's what I was doing. I was just slow rolling the whole intro to the show. I was waiting for Jeff to show up, but there he is. At least it's now that I see him here. All right. It is the High Noon Report for the 12th day of June, year of our Lord, 2023. June 12th, I'll have you know, it's the 163rd day of the year, and that means 202 more days remain until the end of the year. And I will direct your attention to me in that moment. Every day I give you the amount of days we're in and the amount of days we have left. Every day I do that. And, it's an example. It's a glaring indictment of my internal and deep-seated dishonesty that every single day now for 2 years, I pretend like I'm doing the math. Do you notice that when I say it's the 163rd day of the year, there are, and I always do this inadvertently. It's like a subconscious, I'm going to fool them into thinking I've got it written down right here. It's 202 days. So next time you see me do that, call me on it, because I'm going to call myself on it. One by one, you got to just eliminate these inherent, deeply rooted dishonesties that we don't even think about. Me trying to be dishonest. What, you're going to think I'm cooler because I can do math on the fly? Please, I delivered pizzas for years. I can do math on the fly. I don't need to produce that. I don't need to prove that to you. All right, let's get into a little segment that we like to call here on the show, Erstwhile on This Day. That's where we take a jump back in the time machine and we visit all the events that have shaped this day throughout time, as Tony Soprano would say, immemorial. We can maybe look for patterns and stuff. On this day, all the way back, erstwhile on this day in 1665, Thomas Willett is appointed the first mayor of New York City. Hey! Can't really get anything from that. But that's interesting. The first mayor, 1665. On this day in 1775, the American War of Independence, British General Thomas Gage declares martial law in Massachusetts. The British offer a pardon to all colonists who lay down their arms. But there would be two exceptions to the pardons. Samuel Adams and John Hancock, if captured, were to be hanged. Hanged, I don't know. On this day in 1817, the earliest form of this is fun. All right, here's a good one. This is a good erstwhile on this day. The bicycle was invented on this day. The bicycle was invented on this day in 1817. And that is shocking to me, because if you had told me, like if you had showed me some bullshit cave drawings of dudes building the pyramids and guys in the background on bicycles, I go, yeah, they probably had bicycles back in ancient Egypt. Why not? 1817? It took till 1817 for us to figure out if we could somehow self-power wheels. What? Come on, humanity. 1817, the earliest form of a bicycle. And you know what they called it? The dandy horse. It was a dandy horse, not a bicycle, a dandy horse. The dandy horse, the earliest form of a bicycle, is introduced on this day in 1817. On this day in 1939, the Baseball Hall of Fame opens in Cooperstown, New York. Just a, hey, doors are open, Baseball Hall of Fame. Come see a whole bunch of white racists and murderers and criminals and all the... Dude, the earliest baseball players were basically homeless people. They were like the dregs. That wasn't a career. You couldn't do that. Nobody played baseball. There was no dreams of like the best athlete in town in like 1860, when like people were playing farm baseball leagues. The best athlete in town wasn't playing baseball. The best athlete in town was on his way. He was working at the cotton farm. I don't know. He was doing something. He was like an athlete. He was a go-getter. He was of his time. If you were a go-getter of your time, you weren't. So the Baseball Hall of Fame is what I'm saying is a lot of dirtbags in the Baseball Hall of Fame. And it opened on this day in 1939. On this day in 1942, on her 13th birthday, Anne Frank receives a diary. Wonder if she did anything with that. Yes, of course she did. Oh, what is going on here? Something crazy just happened with my thing. Anne Frank, she wrote in that diary, and we still talk about it to this day. 19. Hold on a second, guys. Holy cow, something crazy just happened. Hold on. All right. Sorry, my computer went a little wiggy here for a second. All right, Anne Frank receives a diary for her 13th birthday. Probably not a great one for everything to go wiggy, but should have given it the proper respect. Anne Frank, proper respect. There you go. On this day in 1963, NAACP Field Secretary Medgar Evers is murdered in front of his home in Jackson, Mississippi by Ku Klux Klan member Byron De La Beckwith. Boy, that's a Klan name. That's probably a Klan name because we've only ever heard that name associated with the Klan. But Byron De La Beckwith, that's a hillbilly name if I ever heard. No offense, Byron, but look, hey, Lord Byron. So there's some class. You can put some class on the name too. Don't But I'm just saying. Byron De La Beckwith. On this day in 1963, the film Cleopatra, starring Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton, is released in U.S. theaters. It goes on to become the most expensive and biggest box office hit of the time. That means it's been beaten since. You ever seen Cleopatra with Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton? I haven't. I really haven't. I know I haven't. And it's one of those like great cultural blind spots that I have. Never saw it. I don't know. I guess like if it was on TV in the 70s and I was a little kid, I probably watched it the way I watched the 10 Commandments. Like I'll watch like 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, and then go, and then move on. I don't think I've ever seen Cleopatra. Maybe I should watch that. It's supposed to be a really good movie. I mean, Richard Burton, Elizabeth Taylor, Otto Preminger, I think, wasn't he the guy who made it? Not sure. On this day in 1967, the United States Supreme Court in Loving versus Virginia declares that all U.S. states, all U.S. state laws which prohibit interracial marriage to be unconstitutional. On this day in 1967. See, it's not that long ago. Some of us were still alive. Some of us had already been born in not me, but some of us, not me, like I'm 69, like I'm like so much younger. No. But that's not a long time ago. That is not a long time ago. And there were states written by otherwise thought to be wise and educated men that wrote laws that said if you were a black man and a white woman, or a white woman and a black man, you're not allowed to legally be in love. That was in our lifetime. Those were otherwise responsible men put in positions of influence and power in 1967. They changed it. So let's give the men of 1967 a little bit of credit. But before that, it was just widely accepted. Blacks can't be with whites. Why? Because the skin color. No, why? Give me a real reason why a black man can't love a white woman. Give me a real reason why a white woman can't love a black. I can't tell you how many friends in 2023 I have that are in interracial marriages, and all different kinds of interracial marriages. I mean, we're talking about, I've got my friend Jake, who's married to a beautiful black woman. Jake's a white guy. I've got friends. I got my friend Andy, who is married to Pam, who is a gorgeous Chinese girl. Gorgeous. He's like a Viking. He's like a 6'4" blonde Viking, and he's married to this beautiful little Chinese girl. I can't tell you how many people here in Texas I know that are white guys married to Spanish or Latino. I mean, it's normal. We don't even bat an eye now. It's like, but think about that. It wasn't that long ago. It was like before 1967 that it was illegal for you to fall in love with someone of a different color. So just now walk with me through this next little experiment. What are the things today that we are just so thoughtless about that we're like, yeah, that's wrong? That, 50 years from now, people will be like, can you believe that? I don't know. That's the trick. That's the trick of life. Trying to be a man of your time and trying to figure out what is right for all time and what is just accepted in your time. And then sort of walking that tightrope. Like, you always say this, like, well, he held slaves because everybody held slaves in 1840. No, not everybody did. Not everybody. There were people who could have had slaves in that time who were like, yeah, no. And those people were probably the Jeff Ballards of the time, were probably like, you're just a coward for not owning slaves. If we offered you slaves for free, you'd take them. And these people were like, no, it's kind of a principle. It's kind of like a real principle. I don't think humans should own other humans. Sorry, Jeff, I didn't mean to take the piss out of you there, but you were handy. And because I remembered you questioning me taking Saudi money. Anyway, that's crazy. 1967 is when it became legal, interracial marriage in America. 1967. Still, a bunch of old heads still have a problem with it, but that's because they're men of their time. And love is love. What do you care? What do you care? Because it's going to spoil the pure what? The pure what are you talking about? On this day in 1981, the first of the Indiana Jones films franchise, Raiders of the Lost Ark, is released in theaters. That was a big day. I loved Raiders of the Lost Ark. I remember it was a difficult time for me. 1981. 1981 on this day, I was 11 years old. I was 11 years old. I was all about the Star Wars. And now I got this Raiders of the Lost Ark to deal with. I don't know. What am I? Am I a Raiders of the Lost Ark kid or am I a Star Wars kid? I don't know. I became a Raiders of the Lost Ark kid. I did for a couple of movies and then I lost interest. And then Star Wars was gone. So, if you'd asked me in 1991, were you a Raiders of the Lost Ark kid or a Star Wars kid? I'd have said Raiders kid. But then Star Wars came back. And Star Wars came back in like the late 90s and they did a whole nother 3 movies. And then they've been making movies ever since. And I guess Raiders of the Lost Ark is back too, right? But who cares, right? I don't know what I am. It was good. I liked Raiders of the Lost Ark and I liked Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Other than that, I'm out. On this day in 1987, the Cold War at the Brandenburg Gate, U.S. President Ronald Reagan publicly challenged Mikhail Gorbachev to tear down this wall. And then a bunch of hooligans did. Hooligans. Brave patriots? I don't know. I guess it all depends on what side of the wall you are on, right? I mean, some people were like, they're terrorists staring down the wall. The rest of us were like, nah, freedom fighters. It's all perspective. Everything is perspective. 2016 on this day, 49 civilians are killed and 58 others are injured in an attack on a gay nightclub in Orlando, Florida. The gunman, Omar Mateen, a gay man, a gay Muslim who couldn't deal with it, is killed in a gunfight with police. That's a crazy story, man. Is it the second? I think it's the second biggest mass killing in American history behind Las Vegas. The Pulse nightclub. Whoa. Pride Month. That happened in Pride Month. I don't remember the Pride Month being a big thing back when this. I mean, I know it was a thing, but like, was it like it is now? Now it's a big thing. Now the people who are against Pride Month have turned. The people who are anti Pride Month have turned Pride Month into 1,000 times bigger than it ever was because they're just, I don't like it. And people are like, you don't like what? And they're like, Pride Month, it's everywhere. And then you're like, oh yeah, I guess it is Pride Month. Honestly, the only in-your-face Pride Month propaganda that I have been witnessing has been coming from people who are anti-Pride Month. Stop it. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You're making it bigger by acting like a crybaby. Just ignore it. I don't remember in 2016 when the Pulse nightclub happened that there be all of these correlations to Pride Month. Maybe there were. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't remember. On this day in 2017, American student Otto Warmbier returns home in a coma after spending 17 months in North Korean prison and dies a week later. Otto Warmbier is a really, really awful story. This was a kid. Do people know Otto Warmbier? Otto Warmbier was an American kid. He was 21 years old, and he went to study abroad in Hong Kong. That's quite a thing. You get an opportunity to study abroad, you take it. That's something, it's a thing to shoot for if you're a young scholar. He goes and he studies in Hong Kong, but he decides that he's going to take a tour during one of his off weekends, and it was over New Year's Eve, New Year's week, that he and some other people decided they signed up with this Chinese tour group called Pioneer Tours, and Pioneer Tours took people into North Korea. Pioneer Tours had a slogan that promoted their business. We take you places your mother wishes you wouldn't go. So that's the company they signed up for. So one of the tours was North Korea. So they went to North Korea for a couple of days, and they were staying at the International Hotel in North Korea, this group. Otto Warmbier was one of them. He's a 21-year-old. It was New Year's, and they were getting drunk. They were getting drunk, and they were getting a little bit crazy. And at some point, about 2 o'clock in the morning, Otto Warmbier, drunk off his ass, left the hotel, the rooms where he was, and went into a staff room of the hotel. Now, North Korea. Come on, man. Don't leave your hotel. Why are you in North Korea to begin with? Anyway, leaves the staff room and he steals a poster. He steals a big, giant propaganda poster, a North Korean big picture of Kim Jong-un that was hung up proudly in the break room, and he stole it, or he tried to steal it, but he put it back and he couldn't do it. He couldn't steal it. It was too big. Whatever. He tried. They caught him on tape. He was at the airport heading back to Hong Kong at the end of his Pioneer Tours experience when he was arrested by 2 police officers who tapped him on the shoulder and led him away. The rest of the tour group got on the plane, went home, everything was fine. Otto Warmbier was put on trial for terrorism, propaganda, all kinds of things. They accused him of being a CIA agent who was stealing North Korean propaganda. Wrap your mind around this. The case against Otto Warmbier was that the CIA sent a young student, a young CIA agent posing as a student, to steal a poster from a break room in a hotel. Like, that was the great secret that the American CIA was trying to do. So it was absurd. It was absurd from the beginning. What it was he got drunk and he did something stupid, and it should have been a slap on the wrist. But because it was North Korea and because there were tensions, they decided to hold this guy in prison. And he was in prison for over a year. Actually, how long was he in prison? He was in prison for a long time. And at some point during his prison stay, he caught botulism from overeating. They said that he was overeating, that they were giving him too much food and it was up to him, and he let his food spoil and he got botulism and he fell into a vegetative state. So they finally, once he was in the vegetative state, Rex Tillerson, who was our Trump's Secretary of State at the time, brought him home. And they brought him home in a vegetative state. He died in the Cincinnati hospital. They murdered this kid. They murdered this 21-year-old kid somehow. We don't know how. Nobody ever asked questions. It was just they murdered this American kid. He shouldn't have been there in the first place. But the outrage wasn't there. It wasn't there for this kid. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't know if the outrage machine, I don't know what it was. But where was the outrage when he died? Where was the outrage when he was brought back from North Korean custody, a 21-year-old American student completely in a vegetative state. Why? For getting drunk on New Year's Eve and stealing a poster. Not even stealing, trying to steal a poster. He should have been caned. And he should have been sent home, but he wasn't. He was held by North Korea for political reasons. He was held hostage. And during this period of time, something happened to him. And we still don't know. We still don't know if it was due to beatings at the hands of North Korean interrogators. We don't know. Maybe it was the true story, but I'm guessing it's not. I'm guessing it's not the story that they put out there as truth, which is that he was hoarding food and he ate bad food and he got botulism and then he turned into a vegetable. There's people think that he was tortured to the point of cardiac arrest, and he went into cardiac arrest, and he was in cardiac arrest for a period of time, that the oxygen starved from his brain, because in Cincinnati, the doctor said, yes, his brain has been starved of oxygen. That's the reason for the vegetative state. So there you have it. 2017. American student Otto Warmbier returns home in a coma after spending 17 months in a North Korean prison and dies a week later. But we can easily forget about him because he's just one person in North Korea is our friend, right? 1 year later, in 2018, United States President Donald Trump and Kim Jong-un of North Korea held the first meeting between leaders of their two countries, Trump stepping into North Korean in an unexpected move of solidarity with the Korean dictator. So there you go. 2018, they bring back out a Warmbier. 2018, the President of the United States is stepping across that line to greet. Ugh. All right, let's do some birthdays here. Something is happening. Something weird is happening with my shit. Hold on. Give me a second. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second before we move into the birthdays. Okay. Hold up. Okay, there we go. We're going to do that. Boop. I don't know what's happening with. Well, I do know what's happening with my computer. I didn't have it set up right because I set up quickly. Where's my birthdays? Wanna, today is your birthday. Oh, by the way, good news. Ed says that I can use birthday. Ed says, who runs, I always go, wanna, today is your birthday, because we don't have the rights to the music. But apparently, and I'll have to get this queued up. Apparently, we do have the rights to use that Beatles song because apparently it's public domain. I don't know how a Beatles song could be public domain, but okay, that's fine. We'll go with it. Let's do some births. People born on this day. Born on this day in 1916. Irwin Allen. Oh, my God. Yell Gen X boys. If you're a Gen X boy, you know who Irwin Allen is. Irwin Allen, like before I knew about movies, like when I was just a little kid, Irwin Allen was the shit, man. Irwin Allen was now at 50-something, I'm like Stanley Kubrick, right? Like Kubrick is my favorite filmmaker because I'm a little bit older. I've seen things. I've experienced 6-year-old me. Irwin Allen, baby. Irwin Allen made everything that I wanted to see. First of all, what did Irwin Allen do? Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, the TV show. Do you remember that in syndication? Okay, maybe you don't remember that one because it was a little bit lesser than Lost in Space. Irwin Allen created Lost in Space on TV. That was my favorite show. Warning, Will Robinson. But then Irwin Allen found his stride in the 70s when he became the maestro of the disaster flick. Every disaster flick that you see today, whether it's, I don't know, do they still have disaster flicks? They're all zombies now, right? Isn't that it? The end of the world is coming by zombies, if you ask Hollywood. But it used to be disasters. It used to be earthquakes and floods. That was Irwin Allen. Let me give you a couple of Irwin Allen's best films. Earthquake. Like the original disaster film where California fell into the ocean. Earthquake. Remember that on TV in the 70s? How about The Towering Inferno? Woo, big building catches on fire. Everybody's trapped. Great movie. O.J. Simpson, Lauren Green. Paul Newman. Who wasn't in Towering Inferno? How about The Poseidon Adventure? How about Towering Inferno on a boat, but it's upside down? Yeah, he did Poseidon Adventure as well. And then in the 80s, he started to run out of natural disasters. I don't know why he never got into tidal waves or hurricanes. He never did that. He moved directly from earthquakes and building fires and boat capsizings to The Swarm. That's right. Irwin Allen kicked off just an endless array of movies about billions of bees attacking people. The bee movies. There was the Swarm, which is the first one and considered the Casablanca of the bee attack movies. The Swarm is like the big one. That's it. But then you had like the bees, the killer bees, Buzz, the wasps. But there was a whole bunch of them, and I was there for every single one of them. Loved them. Loved the idea of like a bunch of bees. I mean, not personally. I didn't love the idea of being covered in bees, but just watching it depicted. Irwin Allen, born on this day in 1916. Born on this day in 1924, former President George Herbert Walker Bush. Ladies and gentlemen, Herbert Walker Bush, American lieutenant, politician, President of the United States, 41st President of the United States. Born on this day in 1929, somebody we've already mentioned today. She received that diary on her 13th birthday. It is Anne Frank's birthday. German-Dutch diarist. She received that diary today. Victim of the Holocaust. Born on this day in 1941, Marv Albert, American sportscaster. All right. So let's go and let's remind everybody about Marv Albert. Since we are in the era of Me Too, how come nobody has ever like crept back around on Marv Albert in this era of Me Too, right? Marv Albert got Me Too'd back before there was Me Too, and the details were crazy. If you like basketball and you think you know Marv Albert, you don't know Marv Albert. Marv Albert is like, or was, should say was, because these are things that he, admitted to. He's into S&M. He's into prostitutes. When he's on the road, Marv Albert on the road all these days doing games, he's getting a prostitute. And he likes to bite them, and he likes to cross-dress. Like, all of these things came out about Marv Albert in 1997. He pled guilty. He pled guilty to sexual assault and was given 1 year probation. He was fired from Downtown by NBC Sports. So he lost his gig doing basketball. He was the John Madden of American NBA basketball. He was gone in 1997 because NBC, even in 1997, was not going to stand around and employ somebody who is a sexual assaultist. Yeah, they hired him back 2 years later. 2 years later. Ladies and gentlemen, everybody forgot. Let's bring him back, Marv Albert. Hey, Marv, you're looking good. Have you lost weight? Are you wearing women's panties and garter belts underneath that suit? Because we know that's what you're into. And to this day, you can see Marv Albert sexually assaulted prostitutes, multiple ones. People came forward now, and he admitted it. He likes to bite. He likes to draw breath. Army Hammer. Army Hammer will never work again because he talked about how he liked to bite women. Not Marv Albert. Marv Albert, happy birthday, dude. We know. We see you, Marv. We see. Some of us still remember the details of what came out about you 26 years ago. Born on this day in 1950, Bunny Carlos. Ladies and gentlemen, Bunny Carlos, the heart and soul of Cheap Trick, holding it down there on the skins. Bun E. Carlos, American drummer. Always looked like your driver's ed teacher. Looked like a driver's ed teacher back there. Didn't give a shit. He was a drummer in a rock band. 1951, born on this day, another great rocker, another great all-time rocker, died in 2007. Brad Delp. More than a feeling I want to take you by the hand and make you understand, Amanda. Yeah. Brad Delp, Boston, lead singer of Boston. Born on this day in 1952, celebrating a birthday today, still going strong. American country music singer, songwriter, and guitarist, and a true dude who I have seen at least, well, if you count like in person, in front of you performances, I've probably seen this man perform 10 times. He is one of my all-time favorites. He can't get through town without me at least trying to get a ticket. Junior Brown, ladies and gentlemen. I got a star on my car and one on my chest. I'm working for the state on the highway patrol. Boom, 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 boom. Nobody chicken picks like Junior Brown. Junior Brown was awesome. Junior Brown was a regular back in the 90s on the morning show that we used to do. My morning show host, it's the reason that I'm so into it. My morning show host, Kevin Matthews, was big into outlaw country and like old country, like really. And Junior Brown, man, he came up in the mid 90s and fit that bill. We adopted him in Chicago. We did a whole bunch of shows with him. He was great. Junior Brown, nice man too. Dressed like Hank Williams in 1955. You know, the white suit, tie, white hat. Junior Brown's a bad, bad man. Junior Brown, born on this day in 1952. How about this guy, born on this day in 1957? If you're Gen X like me, you've been seeing this dude, this weird dude on television for like 40, 50 years, and you've been saying to yourself, what? Why? What? How him? What is that? That guy is just so not special, and yet he shows up everywhere. And ladies and gentlemen, happy birthday to Timothy Busfield. Timothy Busfield is like Ted McGinley, except he doesn't have like the stink. Like Ted McGinley's got some stink attached with him because Ted McGinley has been in a lot of shows that, failed. And if a show was in like its fifth season after otherwise being a very successful show and Ted McGinley were to join that show would suddenly jump the shark, as they say. Timothy Busfield doesn't have that stink. But Timothy Busfield's been in everything. I think the first time we saw Timothy Busfield was like in the mid 70s when they did like a Brady Bunch reunion. And I think he married Cindy. I think he was like Cindy's husband. Like the Brady Bunch family, they're grown up. And like that was like the first time I'm like, so that's the dude. And then he started popping up everywhere. And I'm like, and every time I saw him, I'm like, oh, that's the dude that he was in Revenge of the Nerds, right? And he popped up in He popped up in all those movies. And then he played Danny in West Wing. I guess 30-something. I didn't watch 30-something, though. Why? Because I was 19. And I'm like, I'm not going to watch 30-something. But I did catch him after 30-something when he started in the West Wing. And he was good in the West Wing. He was really good in the West Wing. And that was like the first time I went, okay, I like this guy. But at that point, he had been omnipresent for like 50 years. And I'm like, yeah, he's a guy. But seriously, for the first 40 years, I didn't know what Timothy Busfield was. I didn't understand why. Why him? He's not attractive. He's not particularly charismatic. He's actually very drippy and, I'm like, I don't get it. I don't get it. Why him? Born on this day in 1958. One of the greatest compliments that I have ever received in my radio career has absolutely nothing to do with any of the talk shows that I've done. It came in about 1996, maybe 1997. I was working at a young startup station called Q101. Yeah, that's right. One of the most important alternative rock stations in American history. That's right. We launched the whole. How many bands did we break? Well, we broke a lot of bands in a very short period of time. Anyway, bands New York wasn't touching. Bands Los Angeles wasn't touching. Bands that had to prove themselves in the mighty Midwest before MTV would touch them. So I jumped over to Q101 because I was interested in the whole alternative format. I saw it as a new thing, as a growing thing, as something that might be, good for my career. I was in my early 20s. So I left an incredibly popular talk station to go roll the dice and take a chance at Q101. Q101 used to get every single record that was pressed that wasn't obviously a classic rock or country would come to us because people didn't know what alternative was yet. Alternative hadn't defined its genre parameters. So we used to get a whole bunch of music, and the music director used to give me as one of the EPs at the station. That's an executive producer. As one of the executive producers of the station, he used to just give me a whole bunch of music to take home and listen to, and it was part of my job, and it was a fun job. It was like because there was a knowledge that if I liked something that nobody had ever heard of, I could now get it played on this major radio station, and we could see if it's good or not. We can actually see if something that I heard first. So that was kind of thrilling. That was kind of interesting. I had done that briefly. I had done that before. Yes, I take credit for Sheryl Crow's "All I Want to Do" being a hit because that was completely overlooked on the Tuesday Night Music Club. Everybody was playing "Leaving Las Vegas." And then I decided, I was like, let's go with this cut. And we played that deep cut. And all of a sudden, all the other stations are playing it. Everyone's forgetting about "Leaving Las Vegas" off Tuesday Night Music Club. And all of a sudden, "All I Want to Do" takes an album that was dying and turns it into one of the biggest albums of the year. Thank you. I am, in some small way, taking credit for Sheryl Crow's success because I'm the one who played that. And after I played it once, people were like, that's a good song. And they started playing it all the time on our station. And our station broke that song. And then all of a sudden XRT is playing it. And then all of a sudden Q101 is playing. It was, it started with us because we were the only station that could play whatever the hell we wanted because we were talking. Anyway, back to my story. So I get sent home all of these CDs and I'm listening to them. And I hear this one song and I'm like, God, I don't know who this person is, but that song is a banger. This is a good song. I cannot stop singing this song. So I walk back into the music director's office, and I throw them all down there on the desk. And I'm like, you know what? I got to tell you, this one, I've played this one like 50 times. This is a catchy ass song. This is a hit. And I gave it to him, and the station started playing it. Now other stations were also playing it because there were other people that heard it. A guy in New York, a guy in State, they heard it too. And they were like, okay, that's obviously a hit. But when I say it was the greatest non-talk radio related compliment I ever got was when weeks later, when the program director came up to me, and it was like the number one most requested song on our airwaves at the moment. And he goes, you know what? You got an ear. An ear. And in the music business, that means you can hear a hit. Other people can't hear hits, but I was told I had the ear. And that was very good for me because I'm not good at a lot of things. I'm not good at whose birthday is it and what song is it? Well, happy birthday to you. One hit. She only had one in her. It was just the one hit. Meredith Brooks. And the song in question, I'm a Bitch by Meredith Brooks. I'm a bitch. I'm a lover. That is a perfect pop song. And don't give me all of yours. That song's gay. Don't give me all of that. I was listening as a professional trying to figure out what would click with the audience. And it did. It did. I'm a bitch. Meredith Brooks. Meredith Brooks got me my biggest compliment. You, sir, have an ear. Haven't been able to capitalize on that. I mean, that and 15 cents won't get me a cup of coffee these days. But hey, happy birthday, Meredith Brooks. Born on this day in 1959, Scott Thompson, one of the kids in the hall, always gets our respect. Born on this day in 1974, Jason Mewes. He's Jay of the Silent Bob and Jay. Jason Mewes is an interesting character because the first time you saw him in Clerks, I was like, that's an actor. That is a great character. This person is like doing Strasberg level theater with this character of Jay. And then it turns out he wasn't acting. It turns out that was just him. And I'm like, okay, well, that explains why he didn't go off and win a whole bunch of Academy Awards. Happy birthday to you, Jason Mewes. They had to Tony Danza him. You know what Tony Danza is? Tony Danza is when you have an actor who you're not sure can really memorize his lines and will probably not remember his character's name, so you have to give him the same name. That was Tony Danza. Tony, that's why he was called Tony and everything. Hey, Tony, because there's a chance that Tony wasn't going to remember. Oh, wait, that's me. I'm that character. Now I know in Taxi, his name was Bobby Banta, but that's probably where they discovered that it was just easier to call him Tony. Anyway, happy birthday to you, Jason Mewes. Born on this day in 1959. 1974. I mean, born on this day in 1985. How about Dave Franco? That's right. He's the little brother of who's the other guy? James Franco. Dave Franco is married to Alison Brie. Now, I'm a big Alison Brie fan. I like Alison Brie. Alison Brie told a story about how she met Dave Franco. It's like one of the hottest stories. They would get married. They were married, so it's fine. Alison Brie was partying in New Orleans with a bunch of friends. Dave Franco was also partying in New Orleans with a bunch of friends. This wasn't on a film set. This is just young Hollywood people for Mardi Gras down there partying. And Alison Brie and her friends had ended up at this big giant dinner with like 30 people at this big long table. And also at the table was James Franco. Well, Alison Brie is a bit of a wild child. I know she plays little Anarol Annie on Community, and I know that maybe Glow, she's a little bit sexier, but she's a wild child. If you've ever heard interviews with her and all, she is down, if you know what I mean. So she's at dinner and she's looking at Dave Franco, and she's like, oh my God, he is so hot. I want to have sex with him. And that was literally her thought. I want to have sex with him. So they waited a little while until, people were done eating and hanging out at the bar and all that. And he's at the bar and he's holding a drink and she walks up to him and she drops like MDMA in his drink. She just walks up, drops it in his drink and says, "Let's go back to my hotel." That doesn't happen for normal guys. That's you know what? No, what are you talking about? He married her. You look at Allison Brie and you're like, she just dropped MDMA in my drink and then said, "Let's go back to my hotel." Allison Brie. That's some special magic old Dave Franco's got. So happy birthday to you, Dave Franco, born on this day in 1985. I gotta let the dog in. She's being a B.I. She's being a bitch, being a whiner, being a dog all the time. I'll be right back. I gotta let her in. All right, come on. Studio inbound. Let's go, kiddo. All right, baby. You get comfortable, okay? You get comfortable. That is not where you get comfortable. Move. Thank you, girl. Okay. Is that what you're going to do? Is that where you're going to sit? What, is that what you're going to see? You want to say hi to everybody? Why don't you say hi to everybody? Is that where you're going to sit? You're just going to sit in your little chair? Okay. All right, this is where she just lays here and watches me scream into a microphone. It's like when I watch her just barking out the window at nothing. It's like, what are you doing? Maybe she's screaming. Maybe that's some version we don't understand. All right, there she is. All right, so she's here. She's all stowed. She's good. That is CeeLo. She's going to be riding shotgun for the rest of the show. Where are we at? Dave Franco. Oh, Dave Franco. Born on this day in 1985. Dave Franco, umbilical twins. Umbilical cousins. Those are people that are born on the same day, same year, but not really related. Dave Franco is an umbilical cousin with Kendra Wilkinson. Ugh. I hate her. Okay, so I always say that I think that I am not good at anything really, but I am good at a couple of things. Like I can size people up. Like if I'm sitting with you, I can tell by your vibes. I can tell by how I can tell if you're a piece of garbage or whether or not I'm good. I know. It's just something I've always been able to do. I can size people up. I sized up Kendra Wilkinson and I was like, oh God, she's just the worst. First of all, she's not. So here's what happened. So we were out at the Grammys and we were doing our shows from backstage at the Grammys and they were just bringing celebrities in, whatever, notable people. They were bringing them in and they were sitting them down at our table and we were talking to them. And they brought the Playboy girls. Remember, it was Kendra Wilkinson. It was some other girl and some other girl. Remember, he was married to 3 chicks at the same time, although now we know not doing any of them, but whatever. Okay. I said that at the time. He's not doing any of these girls. This isn't real. So we're sitting there and we're talking to the, what were they called? Hefs, wildly inappropriate, younger, wise. I don't know what Hef's harem, whatever. I don't know. But we're talking to the other girls. And one of the girls was actually interesting. One was really quiet and didn't say anything. One was really interesting. And she was the one that seated herself in the middle. So that leads me to believe that they've been down this road before and that she's the one that typically carries the interview. And she was having a really, really perfectly fine conversation with us. It wasn't a problem, this interview. And then Kendra got involved. And I don't know what Kendra was trying to do, but Kendra just decided that she wanted to be the one we were talking to. So she started to try and steal the conversation into some just complete. She made these jokes and I looked at her and I was like, what? She goes, it's a joke. God, you didn't get it? And I go, it wasn't funny. What does that even mean? And then the other girl, the other Playboy girl, she's like, oh, don't worry about her. And then Kendra goes, no, he needs to worry about me. And I go, I don't need to worry about you. Oh, and it got really bad. It was just really awkward. I hate her. Oh my God, she was obnoxious. I think she was on drugs. You do enough of these interviews, you can tell a lot of people are uneasy about doing interviews. So, they're in that world and they do a little something to get up for the interview. I think she was coked out of her mind and she was just being coke obnoxious. Happy birthday to you, Kendra Wilkinson. I still don't like you. I still think you ain't that good close up, Kendra. I've seen you close up. You ain't that good. They do a lot of Hollywood magic to put you on TV to make you, Kendra. I'm just saying. You were the third of the three in just based on nothing other than physical attractiveness. You came in third. You came in third, Kendra. That's what I would tell you. The one, Holly Madison, that was her, Holly Madison. She was delightful. She was like, she could have a conversation. She was smart. She was composed. Holly Madison, she was the good one. And then the other one, the quiet one, she was better than you. She was better than you, Kendra. Yeah, I don't like Kendra. Let's talk about some people who've died. These are the people who've died. These are the people who have died on this day. And we like to take a look at their lives and decide, do we care? Do we care? I mean, people die all the time. We can't care about everybody. Dead on this day in 1957, ladies and gentlemen, how about Jimmy Dorsey? Do we care? We don't care. We don't care because Jimmy Dorsey was an American saxophonist and he was a band leader, but he wasn't Tommy Dorsey. Tommy Dorsey was his brother and was far more famous. So sorry, Jimmy Dorsey. Dead on this day in 1967, American soldier and social activist Medgar Evers. Yeah, we care. Yeah, we care about Medgar Evers. We care about Medgar Evers for a number of reasons, but on Medgar Evers, is it Medgar Evers Boulevard or is that just an honorary street? I don't know, but there is a beef shop on the south side of Chicago that has pork chop sandwiches that will blow your mind away. So for that very reason alone, as well as a whole bunch of other more important ones, yeah, we care. Medgar Evers. Time out. We need to stop here because I've been doing some research on this and I don't understand why it's not listed as an event that occurred today, possibly because it happened at midnight. Maybe it occurred yesterday. Maybe it's tomorrow. I don't know. But listed here with people who died on this day in 1994, Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman. Okay. So that's the Simpson murders. So why weren't the Simpson murders listed on the significant events that shaped this day? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if it comes up tomorrow. Maybe it happened around midnight or something like that. You know what? Let me click on this. Let me click on the death. Let me see what it says. Nicole Brown Simpson, 1994 on this day. Man, that was a crazy. I remember. So I guess it was this day. We were doing the morning. We were on mornings still. We were on mornings in Chicago. And it was probably noon or so, maybe 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And I was driving home. And I was stuck in traffic on the Circle Interchange right there coming out of downtown. And I remember listening. I think I was listening to the Score. And they had a news report. And they were like, the body of 2 people found at the home of former O.J. Simpson wife, but whatever. It was just beginning. And it started the first conversation that I ever heard on that subject. And it was between Mike North and Dan Jiggets, 2 guys who probably shouldn't have been discussing, but they were the first people to discuss it. And they were the ones that brought up, they're like, hey, I wonder if OJ's involved. I'll never forget that. Sitting there. So that wouldn't have been on this day. That would have been tomorrow. That would have been like 1994 tomorrow that I had that experience. All right, let's see the death. Let's see what does it say about the death here? At the time of her death, Brown resided at 875 South Bundy Drive in Brentwood, Los Angeles, California, with her 2 children. On the evening of Sunday, June the 12th, 1994, Brown, 35, was stabbed to death outside her home along with 25-year-old restaurant waiter Ron Goldman. I mean, we all know, right? Ron Goldman doesn't return just anyone's son. That wasn't a thing, right? She was having an affair with him. Her body was discovered, and there's nothing wrong with that. She's fine. She could have an affair with the waiter if she wanted. Let's see here. Her body was discovered shortly after midnight on June 13th. Okay, so that would be tomorrow. She was lying in the fetal position in a pool of her blood. All right, we don't need to go into that again. We don't need to rehash that. Although it was funny, here we are on the anniversary of the murders, and O.J. Simpson was trending yesterday for offering President Trump advice. The world we live in. We live in an amazing world. Here's what I would do. And then he goes on to this like, first of all, you got to kill everybody involved. Never leave a witness, Donald. You need to kill everybody. Fucking OJ. Shut up. Let's see here. What else do we have here? Oh, do we care about Nicole Brown Simpson? Yeah, we do. Yeah, of course we do. Do we care about Ron Goldman? Yeah, of course we do. He gets his own applause. There you go. Of course we do. It's terrible. We obviously care. It became the biggest story for a decade. Of course, obviously we cared. On this day in 1998, Leo Biscaglia. Leo Biscaglia died. What do you know about Leo Biscaglia? I know that Leo Biscaglia was a dude that I used to see on public TV, like, the station that would have Sesame Street on it at night sometimes would have this guy. And he was big into hugging, right? He was big into love and optimism. So, yeah, we care. We care. I don't know much about him. He might have been running some weird sex cult for all I know. But he was the hug guy. And if you're known as the hug guy, yeah, we care. That's a good thing. We certainly don't. We don't not care, right? It wouldn't be like, oh, he's the hug guy. Screw him. Like, it wouldn't be that reaction. It would be like, he's the hug guy. Okay. Dead on this day in 2003, Gregory Peck. American actor, political activist, Gregory Peck. One of the greats. Do we care? Yeah, we care. Yeah, we care because he's one of the greats. All right, that's going to do it. I think we've gone through everything. We've been through the erstwhile on this day. We've been through the birthdays. We've experienced all the people who have passed on to the next plane of existence on this day. So let's get started, shall we? Let's get into all of the things that people show up around here for. Let me see. What do we need to do here? There you go. I'd like to remind you at this time that our show, this little stream, is brought to you by the good folks at Sacred Oils, 13740 Midway Road, Suite 522 in Dallas, Texas. You can give them a call at 469-951-3910. That's 469-951-3910. CBDs, any deltas, they got smokables, they got flour, they got everything that you could want. You walk into Sacred Oils at 13740 Midway Road. You tell them Pugs 20, and they're going to take 20% off anything that you get, 20% off. So thank you to those good folks there at Sacred Oils. We're going to leave that scrolling on the bottom there so you can see it. Just in case you decide that you want to get legally high. I'm telling you, I don't understand it. I don't understand these laws. I think we're going to have to talk about it. I'm trying to put together like a panel of experts to explain how I can walk into a CBD store and buy the same weed that I was buying or would buy illegally from some dude, but somehow now it's legal because of what? because there is a test that is done, and the test doesn't do anything about getting you high. The test is about something else. It's like it can't. Anyway, again, it has to do with a 2018 federal farm bill signed by Trump that legalized hemp and hemp byproducts. And then it was backed up by a Texas law in 2019 that Abbott signed that reinforced that federal law that made hemp and hemp byproducts. Well, guess what a byproduct of hemp is? A byproduct of hemp is THC, the stuff that gets you high. So some people have figured out that, since hemp is legal and all hemp byproducts are legal, you can take the byproduct of THC and you can now sell it as a hemp byproduct, and it's completely legal, and it is entirely. I'll never forget when we first started talking about this phenomena that's happening. And James Parker's on the stream, the nighttime stream. Yeah, okay, so it's just like lesser weed, so it's not like good weed. Okay, so now you can just buy bad weed. Like, that's what he kept saying. James Parker has done nothing but buy the legal weed. Now it's not lesser weed. It's real weed. I don't understand. None of us understand it. We don't understand it. You walk in all of these stores, they have flour. They have flour, just big buds in vases that you can buy. You go like, I want to buy like an eighth of that. And you look at it, and you pull it out, and you smell it, and it's purple, and it's got hairs, and you're like, this is weed. And they're like, nope, that's hemp. Because of some crazy law. I don't know. But I'm fine with it. I'm absolutely fine with it. As I like to say, we all believed that the legalization of marijuana was going to be a light switch, that it was going to be illegal, and then we were going to flip the switch, and suddenly it was going to be legal everywhere. That's not how it's happening. It's not how it's happening in places like Texas, which is, very conservative. So we got to trick the people. We got to have a slow creep of legalization. Can't just can't just have one issue. We're going to make this legal by flipping this switch, because then everybody's going to go, don't flip that switch. But the way they did it, by burying these legalization measures inside overarching agriculture bills that everybody's for, not been challenged anywhere. Nobody's challenging it. The DEA is like, oh, it's legal. This is totally legal. And I know this because I spoke to I want to get somebody. I know somebody who knows somebody in the DEA who is the official advisor to this person's business. And so there's always these questions like, okay, we want to make sure we're not doing anything illegal. Is this legal? And the DEA is like, it's 100% legal. What you are doing is 100% legal. So anyway, I don't know how we got on that other than our good friends at Sacred Oils who are helping out the show. Thank you then. Pugs 20, you get a 20% discount. I don't get it. Look, not only are the CBDs great, like if you've got like muscle pains and you get an anxious mind and all that, I take the CBD oil, 3,000 milligrams every night. I'll drop it under the tongue with a melatonin gummy and boom, I'm out. It's beautiful. But it's the getting high that I don't get it. The Delta 8, you walk into a CBD store and you say, you got any Delta 8 vapes? And they're like, yes. And they show you like an entire wall. And you're like, okay, I'll take a Delta 8. And that's what you want, Delta 8. Delta 9, I think, is still illegal for some weird reason because it's not wholly derived from hemp. But Delta 8 is, and Delta 8 is THC. So go ahead, enjoy that. It's crazy. It's insane. All right, let's get into the things that are trending. All of the stories that people are talking about. Frank says cannabis is legal in Minnesota now. No, it's not. Not until August, Frank. Yes, the governor signed the bill, but it doesn't take effect. I think it doesn't take effect fully in the state until August. But whatever, you're right. You're absolutely right. Yep, terpenes. Leslie's talking about terpenes. Terpenes we all got to be chemists now to understand what it is that we're buying. Terpenes in your deltas are what determine whether or not you getting high or not. And selling terpenes in deltas, I don't know what I'm saying. It's all so confusing. That's why we need somebody, preferably law enforcement, to come on and tell us all, because we keep talking about how we're in this weird phenomena or we're doing something that's totally illegal, but we still feel like it's illegal. So we still feel guilty about it. It's like, is this true? So preferably I'd like to talk to somebody affiliated with law enforcement or a lawyer or somebody who knows this stuff, All right, let's get into all the things that are trending. I'm avoiding the number one thing because I hate to talk about the number one thing, but the number one thing that's trending is Trump. Trump's going to be arraigned tomorrow on 7 indictments, 37 counts in a Florida courtroom tomorrow. It's going to be a big story tomorrow. I'm sure we'll have the helicopters in the air following his motorcade as it leaves the hotel or wherever, Mar-a-Lago, wherever it's going to be. Today they did it. He was in New Jersey. So this morning I'm watching and they got a helicopter shot of Trump's motorcade leaving Bedminster in New Jersey for the airport. Sure, they got a chase plane. They're going to follow him all the way. It's just stop. Just let's let it play out and let's stop. So there you go. Trending number one, Trump. Let's see what happens. Let's stop. God, I'm already tired of this story. Did you read the indictment? I read the entire indictment. Read the entire thing. It's an easy read. It was designed to be an easy read. They specifically wrote this indictment in this way because they want all of us to read it. Because if we all just read it, we'd be like, oh, they have... Never mind. Let's let it play out. I would suggest everybody read the indictment. Read the indictment. And just remove the name Trump. Put any name you want there. Put Hillary in there. Just take the name Trump out and put Obama in there. Take the name Trump out and put Hillary in there. Take the name Trump out, put Biden in there, and read the evidence. I mean, stop it. So let's just let it play out. Take a deep breath. Jesus. Good Lord. All right. Also trending today. We got hail. Did you see the hail yesterday? Oh boy, did we get some hail. Did we get a storm that blew through here? We had tornado sirens. The tornado sirens in Highland Park went off last night about 7:30. And it was bad out. Like it was windy, but there was it just went once and freaked everybody out. And then we never heard it again. And I'll tell you, man, the problem with being so dependent on streaming technology and not having access to, say, like a Time Warner cable system or a Direct TV or one of these systems that actually provides you with local breaking in the moment news is a real problem. Because last night I'm sitting here in the studio and I hear the tornado alarms go off, and I don't have cable TV. I don't have regular TV. I have no way to watch local ABC, NBC, or CBS or Fox here in Dallas, Fort Worth to give me weather updates when a tornado is possibly bearing down. I have no way to watch that. I can go online and I can go to WFAA and hopefully they're streaming live, but they may not be. For instance, last night with the tornado, it took me like 10 minutes to find something. In the only people who were streaming live yesterday during the storms that rolled through here were CBS in Dallas. Is that KTVT? They were the only ones. They were the only ones that had their weatherman up, and he was showing where the radar was coming. Not NBC Dallas, not ABC Dallas, not Fox. And again, though, if it was like breaking, like if I had to find this information like within a minute, there's no way. It was so, for all of the things that we say about cable TV and how it's overpriced and it's stupid, we took for granted how easy it was to just go, oh, I'm going to switch to that channel. Boom, now I'm on that channel. That's not how apps work. That's not how apps work, man. You want to change channel on the app? It's like, all right, let me exit this. Spinning. And now it's exit. Okay, now I'm there. Now what channel? Now what app do I need to utilize to get to the channel that I want to go to? Boom, 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 boom. Okay, there I am. Okay, it's not. Okay, it's not. Okay, boom. Okay, there it goes. Took me 3 times to do it. Okay, now it's engaged. Spinning. See, back when we had cable, that whole experience was this. I'm going to flip channels. We take that for granted. That is something that I don't know how often it's useful, but it's useful when the tornado sirens are going and I'm trying to look for some local news to tell me whether or not I got a tornado ripping up Lemon Avenue. That would have been useful. Totally got screwed. Got to go to the internet and you got to hope that one of these channels is streaming live. But man, that hail came through. The hail came through here. The hail was only for about, the real big giant grapefruit-sized hail that we saw, that was all happening in like Flower Mound, like the Flower Mound area. And that's where I saw that cool-ass video of this kid standing under his awning, just cracking on. He was in his little baseball uniform, and as the hailstones fell in his backyard, he was cranking them over his fence. It was pretty cool. It's a good video. If you see it, you'll get an enjoyment out of it. So yeah, we had some weather. What do we got going on right now? What's happening right now? All right, it seems like sunny. It seems kind of sunny. What do we have to look forward to? Didn't they say we were going to get like really bad storms today as well? It's only 74 degrees. Ooh, it was 101 yesterday. My car got up to 101 when I was driving my son home. 101. It's 74 degrees right now. Are we going to get rain? Yeah, it looks like we're going to get rain at 7, 8. All right, so thunderstorms, 9, 10 thunderstorms. Ooh, it's going to be good sleeping weather, my friend. It is going to thunderstorm, or at least according to the weather, which is almost never right. Starting about 7 o'clock tonight, we're going to get some thunderstorms. All right, very good. I love it. Excuse me, let me get resituated. All right, so that's the weather situation here in North Texas. How about this one? I-95 in Philly. Did you see? Were you watching this last night? This is horrifying. Let's pull this up. So a stretch of I-95, which is a very big, important road, I-95 that runs through Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, right through downtown there. It collapsed. It collapsed, and it collapsed because there was a semi truck going underneath. Like it was a tunnel. Like there was a bridge, an overpass goes over it, and then a bridge goes, these loops, right? So there was a truck inside this tunnel that caught fire. This truck was carrying like 12 billion tons of diesel fuel. It was a diesel fuel truck, and it caught on fire. And that little area where it was stuck became an oven, burning at. I mean, it was diesel fuel, so it was just it was burning hot. It melted the road above it, where people were driving over. People were just driving, and they see this smoke pouring out from underneath the little bridge they're about to go over, and they just drive right through. And I can't tell you that I would do any different, but these videos are horrifying. Let's watch some of these videos here. Okay, so here, this is just going to be a picture, I guess. We'll show you the picture of what it looks like, and then we'll watch some of these videos of some of these people just driving over it. All right, so here, this is what it looks like. See that? See how it just collapsed? The whole thing just went gug. And there were people driving over that thing while it was completely engulfed in flames, just driving through it like they're at some county fair doing some demolition derby stunt. They're just driving through the flames. Well, let's get a look at some of these people, and let's watch these videos. All right, so here's one video. Who's this? Sergeant Bark. Hold on. Sergeant Mark. Twitter. There he is, Sergeant Mark. Okay. All right, so this is what I guess it looked like. Here we go. This is what one of the people driving over. There you see smoke. Good.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, Jesus Christ is right. You're heading right for that nonsense, man. You're gonna drive right through that?
Right now.
So where the smoke is, that's where it's just all about to collapse. It's just the road is going to.
Brush fire.
Nope, not brush fire.
Brush fire on I-95.
Not brush fire. Okay, did you notice that? That's something that they are pointing out.
Fire.
The road was already buckling. Watch where he gets to the middle of it and his car like almost bottoms out.
Fire.
That's from.
Look at that. Brush fire on I-95.
See that? Where he just hits it like that? Oh my God. Yeah, I ain't driving through that, folks. I'm sorry, I ain't driving through that. I'm pulling over. I'm like, it doesn't look good. That does not look right. All right, let's see. We got another one. Another video of this. Infrastructure, folks. Infrastructure. Manholes were exploding all over the place, all over Philadelphia from the pressure from the, I don't know what it is. I'm not a scientist. But there was propane stuff happening. It was blowing manhole covers off the road. Here, watch this one. I like this one because they've provided their own music. They've got the perfect song choice for what's happening here. There you go.
It's right here. Whatever it is right there.
Yeah, here.
Yeah. It was out there though. It's right here. Whatever it is right there.
It's underneath.
Should I call the cops? Look, whatever it is. Underneath. It's coming out the middle too. You can see it. Because people are just fucking sitting there trying to watch it. Like, what the fuck? Don't watch it. Oh, look, be careful. That's what it is. Oh shit! Oh shit!
Oh my God.
Man, oh man, some scary commutes on Sunday morning there in Philadelphia. No injuries. Hey, nice job. But man, oh man, they're saying the repercussions from this are going to be a pain in the ass forever. This is like a major part of this road. Millions and millions of people travel it. It's going to cause problems. It's going to be closed now forever. It's going to be just an awful summer if you're trying to commute in Philadelphia, but also because it connects to like that big corridor that links all the East Coast cities from Washington to New York and all that. They're saying, oh, it's going to be a mess forever. That's I-95. I-95 in Philly, big story trending from yesterday. A couple of deaths. All right, we got to talk about some people who died. These are the people who died. These are the people who died today. or within the last couple of days. Trending. Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber. Do we care? No. Fucking weirdo. Crazy ass weirdo. Unabomber. Genius. Was kicked out of his high school at 15. Evergreen Park High School on the south side of Chicago. Got kicked out for being too smart. Basically for being a troublemaker. But he was way too smart. And here's proof of him being way too smart. So Evergreen Park High School kicked him out at 15. And at 16, Harvard said, come on, kid, come on down, Unabomber. He wasn't the Unabomber yet. But he went there and he learned all kinds of smart guy stuff. And, he was probably crazy. He was super smart, like super crazy IQ. But a lot of times super crazy comes with super smart and super smart comes with super crazy. So, you had that. It's balancing the two. An eccentric view of the world is quite common with people who are exceptional as far as their intelligence goes. But he was nutty. He decided he became a hermit. And he wanted to take himself out of society because he felt that society was like a personal persecution thing. He wrote manifestos, about what he was doing. He built bombs and sent them to people who he had problems with. He didn't have any real ideology. His targeting was almost entirely personal grievances. It was just people he was mad at, people he didn't like. He wasn't fighting for socialism. He wasn't a right-wing Nazi. He wasn't any of those things. He was just a crazy, smart hermit guy who had personal grievances against people. And, most of them colleagues, like people that he'd worked with. People that he felt, he'd written a paper and they'd been like, that's stupid. And he's like, I'm going to send you a mailbox bomb. It was like that kind of thing. Unabomber, Ted Kaczynski, died Saturday. Do we care? Fuck no, we don't care. Idiot. Also dead now. Mr. Bunga Bunga. That's right. Former Italian Prime Minister Sergio Berlusconi has passed away at the ripe old age of 86 years old. Berlusconi, the most fun of the European scumbag presidents. He was a scumbag. Politically, he was super progressive. No, I'm not. That's not true. What I'm saying is he worked well with the West. Let's say that. Let's say that he worked well with the West. He was fine, but it wasn't a problem. It wasn't like a bad. He was fine with us, but he liked young girls. And he would have these bunga bunga parties where him and a whole bunch of Italian celebrities would get together in a fancy hotel suite. And they'd invite a whole bunch of girls, some rumored to be as young as 12 years old. His name has been linked with Jeffrey Epstein. So, Sergio Berlusconi died at 86 years old. Bunga bunga Berlusconi. Do we care? No, dude was probably a pedophile. Dude was probably, when I think of a pedophile, you think of the guy with the Dahmer glasses and the members only jacket in his basement looking at, shit he shouldn't be looking at online. That's what you think of when you think of a pedophile. Berlusconi might have just been one of these broken, super powerful guys who just could do whatever he wanted. So he dabbled in everything. And it's like, that's fucking weird. I don't know. I'm not making an excuse. I'm just saying there's different, Jeffrey Epstein doesn't strike me as the rank and file pedophile. When I watch these videos on YouTube where they hunt pedophiles, where they pretend like they're a girl and they want to meet you at Walmart, and then they lure the pedophile to Walmart and then they confront them. That's a different category. They're both terrible. Don't get me. I'm just saying there's a whole other world of scary elitist pedophiles. And I'm pretty sure that Berlusconi was one of them dudes. Just saying. Bunga bunga parties. Look it up. Look up bunga bunga parties. Read the details. Read the stuff that is just being stated as fact, that nobody is going, put him in jail. He should. The guy, I'm just saying, the bunga bunga parties were kind of crazy. He had to step down because of it. He was prime minister, and that's it. That's the worst that happened to him. You're being accused of having sex with underage girls regularly at these parties. And, you would think, oh, am I going to jail? They're like, nah, you just need to step down. You can still keep all your money and all that stuff. It's Italy. We'd overlook these things. Let's see what else is trending here. We've got another situation having to do with Russia. That's right. Russia has arrested another American. They've arrested a kid, a dude. Call him a kid like he's innocent. He's not innocent. Come on, man. What are you doing in Russia? What are you doing in Russia in 2023? We just went through the Brittany Griner thing. What are you doing in Russia? You're not innocent. You're not. I don't know if you're guilty of what they're charging you with, but you're not innocent. You're in Russia when you shouldn't be. That you're guilty of being in Russia when you shouldn't be. You know you shouldn't be. Moscow court detains a U.S. citizen on drug charges. If found guilty, he can face up to 12 years in prison. Here's what he's being accused of. Apparently, he's a former paratrooper, right? He's they claim that he works for the CIA and that he's dealing drugs inside Russia for whatever reason. I don't know what reason that would be. Make money. But why is the CIA involved there? I don't know. A U.S. citizen, a musician, and a former paratrooper has been detained in Russia on charges of organizing a drug trafficking operation. This, according to a Moscow court. On June 10th, 2023, Moscow's Kamovniki District Court took a measure of restraint against a U.S. citizen. According to a statement on Telegram messaging app by Moscow courts of general jurisdiction. The former paratrooper and musician who is accused of running a drug dealing business involving young people will remain in custody until... What's he doing in Russia? What's he doing? I'm just going to move on from the story. That's what he's being accused of doing. What's he doing in Russia? Probably does work for the CIA. He probably does. That is probably, if you were to remain in Russia, one of the primary reasons would be probably because you, at the very least, he knows people in the CIA. You can't be an American citizen living in Russia and not know dudes in the CIA. What are you doing in Russia? What? Every American citizen in Russia needs to come home, and they should have come home 2 years ago when the Brittany Griner thing went down. Or you know, maybe the Ukraine war is reason enough to get you out of there. I don't know. Unless you're like a journalist and you're like, no, I'm covering this because somebody needs to tell the story. That I understand. But when you do that, you understand that you are risking being arrested. And therefore, when you are arrested, we here over in America, we shouldn't be all like, let them go, because they knew it's a dangerous job. But this guy, he's like, I'm just a musician, man. What are you doing in Russia? The music scene so much better for you there in Russia? Easier to get like gigs playing. Maybe it is because he's American. American rock. Johnny Blue Jean. Let's see here. So I can't really get myself all twisted about some American citizen who gets arrested now in Russia. What are you doing there, dude? What are you doing? Woo, Fox News and Tucker Carlson, they're going at it. That's right. There is a lawsuit that is quietly, a cease and desist order first came from Fox, but now rumors of a full-fledged lawsuit from Fox News against Tucker Carlson. They are claiming that Tucker Carlson doing these little Twitter shows or whatever he's doing, these Twitter shows are in violation of his non-compete, and that'll play out in court. He'll keep doing them, and it'll, make its way through the courts. In about 10 years, we'll have an answer on this, which is important because this addresses a modern question, which is, do non-competes pertain only to terrestrial cable or satellite distribution of a message? Or do non-competes now cross over into streaming aspects? If they do, if you see Twitter as a competitor to what Fox News does. And I think that case can be made as far as, being a source for information from people. I think that you may have an issue. I think that Fox's non-compete might be actionable. However, we don't know because, this is all new. This is the first time that this has ever truly been tested at this level. I mean, been a lot of situation where DJs have lost. This is how I'm familiar with it. When you lose your job, and you got a non-compete still going for 90 days or whatever, they would go and they would start streaming. And there was rarely any issues with that. But this is a much higher profile situation. A lot bigger money. Way more money at stake here. So we'll see. Tucker versus Fox. Fox has sent Tucker Carlson a cease and desist, ordering him to stop producing his Twitter shows. And no response from Tucker. We don't know. How about this? Here we go. It's, it's been a while, so why not delve back into some Britney Spears news, huh? Britney Spears is trending this morning. Why is Britney Spears trending? Why do we care about Britney Spears? Well, apparently she's again. How about not again? How about just she's crazy? How about she's crazy and there are periods of time when she's on her medication where she can kind of be normal. But then there are other times where she stops taking her medication and maybe she starts turning into crazy old Britney from 2002 again. And now we get to where we are right now. Where are we right now? Kevin Federline, who is the father of her 2 children, 2 boys. And by the way, what does this say about you? Kevin Federline has custody of the children. A judge looked at Britney, then looked at Federline, then looked back at Britney and said the kids will be better off with Federline. Wow. Wow. And by the way, the kids now are like, how old are the kids? The kids, one of them's like 17, the other one, I mean, the kids are not babies. So the ex-husband of Britney Spears fears the troubled hitmaker. Okay, it's being a little generous. She hasn't had a hit in 15 years, but okay. Oh, no. She had a hit like a couple months ago, right? Didn't they like do some remix with her and Elton John that was a hit? I mean, I don't know what it is, but whatever. What is a hit these days anyway? No idea. The ex-husband of Britney Spears fears the troubled hitmaker is taking highly addictive drug, crystal meth. I can exclusively okay, so apparently he tried to set up an intervention, it says here. Kevin Federline says, I fear she's on meth. I've been praying someone would make it public and that she wakes up. It's terrifying. She is the mother of my boys, both of Britney's teenage sons, Preston, 17, and Jaden, 16, claim they witnessed someone close to their mother bringing her what looks like drugs before they decided to stop seeing her last summer. All right, now this is important because this is an eyewitness testimony of a 16-year-old and a 17-year-old. These are the children of Britney Spears, who you would assume they love their mother dearly. So, are they just lying to make her look bad? Also, it should be noted at 16 and 17 years of age, you should, especially if you grew up in Hollywood and you are in this Hollywood micro bubble or whatever it is, you know what drugs look like. So when you're 16 and 17, when you're 17, you're your senior in high school son tells you, yes, I saw people giving mom drugs. You pretty much know it's drugs. It's not like a 6-year-old going, and it was powder. It's not like that. These are grown-ups. Both of Britney's teenage sons, Preston 17 and Jaden 16, claim they witnessed someone close to their mother bringing her what looked like drugs before they decided to stop seeing her last summer. So the 2 grown-ass boys are like, yeah, mom's going a little bit nuts. We're going to go hang out with dad. Dad gets custody. These concerns, coupled with Britney's erratic behavior, led to the intervention attempt on February 7th. Oh, apparently this is what we're learning. On February 7th, there was a Britney intervention. Man, it'd be fun to film that. Oh, see, Britney's not thinking because it's real. Because this is real, so she wouldn't think to videotape it. But man, that would be your comeback. Everybody would watch a Britney intervention if we were sure it was real, and not staged. It's terrifying. She is the mother of my boys. These concerns, coupled with Britney's erratic behavior, led to the intervention attempt on February the 7th. Federline, 45, who has custody of both boys, was staying with it doesn't matter what the last chance. Friends and family rented a safe house in Los Angeles and hired interventionalist Matt Brown, a medical professional who specializes in treating addictions. I watched on horrified as their carefully hatched intervention plan unraveled. As Kevin, who was waiting nervously for an update, told me, I don't want the boys to wake up one morning and find their mother has taken an overdose. Britney's husband, Sam Asghari, 29, manager Cade Hudson, and her doctors were also in on the plan. Okay, so that's important because you want to think, you're like, oh, Britney's just around some bad people and this bad guy that she married. But apparently this bad guy that she married, Sam, and her manager were involved in the intervention. So these are people who believe that, her longtime friend Jody Montgomery, who was appointed by a court to control Britney's affairs in place of her father and continued working for her after the conservatorship ended, told Kevin to prepare his boys for what was about to happen. Kevin went outside to have a smoke while waiting to hear from Jody about the intervention. He then raced back, waving his phone, screaming, Jody just quit. Oh, no. Okay. So you get that scene? So Kevin Federline was in one location. He knew the intervention was going on. His line of communication to the intervention with Britney Spears was Jody, Jody, who was in charge of Britney's money after the court decided that Britney's dad could no longer be in charge of Britney's money. The court said, Britney, who do you want to be in charge of your money? Because you're nutty buckets. And she said, Jody. So Jody, the best friend, is now in charge of all of Britney's money. So Jody was at the intervention and she was on the phone giving details back and forth to Kevin Federline about how the intervention was going. And when Kevin Federline hung up the phone and walked back into the room to tell all the people on his end what was happening, he announced, it's not going well. Jody just quit. So, oh man, I wish it was all filmed. Maybe it will be. This will be fantastic. Interesting. Drugs. Don't do them, kids. There you go. You know, honestly, if you need, oh God, don't do drugs, kids. Don't do gutter drugs. You know, okay, seriously. Because I'm going to have a conversation with my son about this at some point, and I'm going to have to be realistic, and I'm going to have to understand that my kid is very social and my kid is popular and he goes to parties and people like him. So he needs to be smart about what's happening because all of these new things are suddenly going to be presented to him and he needs to understand gutter drugs. I'm going to have a conversation about my kid about gutter drugs. And by the way, I consider tequilas and whiskeys and all of that. I consider those gutter drugs too for teenagers. If he wants to have a beer with his buddies, he wants to go to a keg party where, you know, there's keg and everybody's drinking beer out of plastic cups. That's, you know, he's a Texas high school kid. You know, I mean, I watch Friday Night Lights. I know what's going on. I know what to prepare for. So he's going to do that. And that's fine. You know, beer is fine. I tell him we don't drink wine. He's like, why don't you drink wine? I don't drink wine because it gives me heartburn. And I'm like, you're probably going to get heartburn too. So you shouldn't drink wine. Beer is fine. Smoke a little weed. That's fine. I don't give a shit about any of that stuff. You can stay focused. When people start rolling out the gutter drugs when you're 16 and 17, you know, cocaine, and especially since, you know, nowadays, cocaine isn't really all that prevalent. But you got the meths and you got all of this stuff that some dirtbag friend of a friend might have and bring to a party. Kids got to know about that stuff. Kids got to know. And I truly believe that if you're just cool enough with your kid, if you're not like a Nazi, if you're not like, you can't even go near a can of beer. Is that beer I smell on you? Yeah, it probably is. Because if he's a cool kid, he's probably going to be at a party with people drinking beer. But if I truly believe that if you can just have the conversation and tell him about it. Like I've told my kid everything, all the drugs that I've done, why I should never do them, why, you know, all of these things. I think it's important. I want him to trust me. I'm with my relationship with my son, because I don't have the luxury, you know, because of choices that I've made that nobody else is to blame for. I do not have that luxury of waking up every morning and cooking him breakfast. So I've sort of fixed my mindset to, okay, so what is my role? I have to create a new role for me. And the role that I've always created, and the role that I feel like I still have right now in his life, is that I am the adult who cares about him as much as any other adult who he can actually tell anything to. And we have a really like, you know, we got a lot of secrets, you know, like he told me a lot of things and I've kind of helped him through it. And I hope that remains. And because of that relationship, I don't think my kid's going to be doing any of the gutter drugs. I don't think he's going to turn out like Britney Spears. How does Britney Spears end up on meth? But you're Britney Spears. You live in a mansion. I mean, if you want to do pure Colombian cocaine, I mean, you could get the most expensive, best non-fentanyl cocaine there is on the market. And you're like doing gutter drugs like some Slidell hillbilly. Good Lord, Britney. Ugh. Tony Awards were last night. The Tony Awards, you know how I feel about the Tony Awards. Fuck the Tony Awards. That's right. Tony Awards are a scam. And for about 4 hours last night, Twitter was just filled with, the Tonys. Let me tell you about the Tony Awards. Were they even on TV? Is CBS still so out of it that they dedicate 2 hours of Sunday night, 3 hours of Sunday night programming to honoring a bunch of people who they're telling us are celebrities who we've never heard of. We've never seen them before. They're not anything that entices us. These are people who do stage plays on a street in New York. That's it. The only way you can be familiar with what they're honoring tonight is if you bought a plane ticket and flew to New York, waited in line, spent another couple of $100 to go sit in the theater. The Tonys are such a scam. The Emmys are real. The Emmys are TV. We can all watch TV. We all have a say. We all understand it. The Oscars, same thing. We can all go to the movies. Grammys, same thing. We all get music. Not the Tonys. Okay. And the best play of the year. Nobody in America is watching that going, oh, I hope so and so. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Broadway is for a very elite class of people who live in New York, people who live in the New York, New Jersey area. They go into town on a Saturday to see a new Broadway, but that's for them. That's what they do. Maybe your aunt plans your aunt in Milwaukee and her book club. Maybe once a year they fly to New York and they see a play. That's it. The Grammys do not, or the Tonys do not deserve to be on television. They don't. I know I've thought way too much about this, but let me tell you, here's how it all started. I was about 12 years old, and there was something that I liked that was on CBS TV on Sunday nights, and it was interrupted by the Tonys, and I wasn't prepared for it. I didn't know my favorite show wasn't going to be on, and I didn't know that the Tonys were going to be on, so I started to watch the Tonys, and I quickly realized at 12 years old that this was all a con, that this was all a bunch of rich, elitist, Broadway theater people acting like they're every bit as noteworthy as people who make music and people who are in movies and TV. And they're not. And I reject it. Although I will say this, my favorite podcast, Smartless, which stars Jason Bateman, Will Arnett, and Sean Hayes, is going to be a fun listen this week because Sean Hayes won a Tony. Congratulations. Congratulations to Sean Hayes. If you listen to Smartless, the podcast, you know that Sean Hayes has been working on this play for a long time. Oscar Levant, he's been playing the great Hollywood choreographer Oscar Levant. He played Oscar Levant and he won. So I know I hate the Tonys, but I like Sean Hayes, and I'm glad to see that after months and months of him on Smartless talking about the preparations for this play and all, I'm glad to see he won a Tony. I mean, oh my God, what a wonderful thing for him. All right, there you go, Sean Hayes, Tony winner. That's all I care about. And it's the other thing. A bunch of people got up, like a bunch of people who you don't know, like somebody you've never heard of, right? And the one for Best Actress, right? You're never going to see her again. She's a Broadway, whatever it is. All these people just getting up, and now they're going to take this moment to talk politics. There was so much unnecessary politics from a bunch of people who are pretend famous. There are YouTubers way more famous than these Broadway people, and they're like, look at us, it's the top. All right, I'm moving on. I can go on and on and on and on and on and on and on about how the Tonys are bullshit. Slow Jamistan. I like this. Why do I like this? Because I will tell you, there used to be an art form in this country called the DJ stunt. The local DJ would spend great amounts of time gathered around tables with their friends drinking beers, trying to come up with like the craziest stunt that they could do. What could we do? What could we get away with? And those things don't happen anymore. And they don't happen anymore. DJs don't get buried alive. DJs don't live on billboards. DJs don't do any of that fun stuff anymore. This guy does, though. Here's a guy. I like this. I don't know. I mean, this is a weird stunt. This is weird, but it's hey, I still applaud it. Slow Jamistan. Slow Jamistan is a new micronation that is hidden in California. Let me tell you the story about Slow Jamistan. That's right, spelt exactly the way that I pronounce it. San Diego-based Slow Jams radio DJ Randy R.W. Williams.
As someone living with type 2 diabetes, I want to keep it real and talk about some risk.
All right, Anthony Anderson. Anthony Anderson just won't stop talking about his type 2 diabetes. Let's see here. San Diego-based Slow Jams radio DJ has spent his life visiting every country in the world. And now Randy R.W. Williams is the sultan of his own country, tucked away right here in the United States. Over the course of about a decade, Williams visited every single UN-recognized nation, from the regular tourist favorites to some of the world's most elusive destinations like North Korea and Venezuela. Ahead of crossing off the 193rd country on his list, the radio personality was looking for a new frontier to explore. That's when he visited a micronation, or a, quote, self-declared territory in Nevada known as the Republic of Malosia. That visit cemented his next mission, to found his own country. And so he bought a bunch of land in California. A few months later, he officially declared independence from the United States, signing the secession document. Dublandia is the capital city of the new Republic of Slowjamistan. The name of the country, or the name of the new country, located about 100 miles from San Diego, Williams said, is a reference to his career moonlighting as a late-night slow jams broadcast DJ on Southern California radio station Magic 92.5. That started his own country. Oh, here, you guys see a picture of him. This is... I love it. Here. He's doing it right, man. He's he's having the fun. He's having all the fun. He's got uniforms, he's legit. Let me show you. Show you this guy. All right. Oh, who is this guy? Look at this guy, Curtis Nunez. I hate you right now, Curtis. Well, that ain't working. There he is. All right. Look at him. Randy R. Williams. He's got the military uniform. He's got everything. What other pictures you got? Oh, is he printing money? I don't know if that's legal. Well, I guess Slowjamistan. There it is. He's got his own legal tender. So look at this. Is expensive. This is not. He's a nighttime slow jams DJ. He's making $20 an hour. Okay, he's making $20 an hour. Nobody has late night DJs anymore. They have to do that for free. So he's making like $20 an hour. He has no health insurance. I am telling you what I know about the business. He's making $20 an hour. He has no health insurance, yet he's traveling around to every country in the world, and he can afford this. Look at this. This costs like a couple $100. If you're a slow jams DJ in San Diego. Anyway. Look at him. Permission required for it. Look, he's got the uniform. Oh, I love this guy. All right, that's him. There you go. Randy R. Williams, the Sultan of Slowjamistan. I mean, it looks pretty much like a pile of garbage out there. You know what I mean? It just looks like he's in the middle of the desert. But hey, you go for it. What else do we have here? What else is trending? Oh, here's something. This was trending yesterday, and it was going around. Actually, it was going around all weekend. I just want to show you this. I don't even know what the story is, but CBS News made this. Hold on. CBS News made this a big thing. They put it out there. And by the way, as pointed out by Ed, my buddy Ed, CBS News got it wrong. They, of course, got it wrong. Here we go. I'm going to show you this. So CBS News put this story out about the Queen's Guard, which they got wrong because it's not the Queen's Guard anymore. It's the King's Guard. Ed pointed that out. And I was like, hey, yeah, look, he caught it. So England is absurd. In England, don't be fooled by England. Look, I'm Irish, so I'm not fooled by England. I know what they are. They're a bunch of morons over there. But they dress up their idiocy with like this sophistication that fools the rest of the world into thinking, oh, they must be smart because they speak fancy. But no, they are crazy, stupid people over there. Well, first of all, they believe in the magic people, right? They believe that we've got magic people that call all the shots. English people are just like us in just about every way, except they break from us when they go, oh, except for the Windsors. They're appointed from God to be better than all of us. We have this whole thing. We're all created equal. They don't see, they know they're not equal. God save the Queen. The Queen is more important. So they have all these like stupid things over there. And one of their stupid things is that, the King's Guard cannot break ranks. So you've seen videos of like them doing marching, the King's Guard doing their march in formation, and then like a little kid like wanders in front of them, and then they trample the little kid because they can't break formation because they're absurd. Because they're absurd, stupid people who don't get me started on the English. Again, I'm Irish, and I love London. Don't get me wrong. I love traveling to London. What a fun city. Stupid, absurd people. It's an entire nation filled with like the worst American hillbillies, but they speak fancy. So you get a little confused. You think they're So this is one of the things they have to do. So apparently when the king's guard is waiting to greet the king, they must stand in the same position forever and ever and ever, and they have to wait until the king dismisses them. Now, in this particular situation, King Charles was running late. And by late, I mean hours late. And it was very hot. And all of these King's Guard had to stand there in this really hot weather in their stupid uniforms. That's another thing. These uniforms are not practical in any way, shape, or form. Can we update the uniforms? Why are all of the dress military uniforms reminiscent of something 500 years ago? Why can't dress military uniform? Why can't they be modern? Why can't they look cool? Why can't they be, So anyway, stupid hats. Explain what the hat is to me. I've never understood the dumbass beefeater hat that they wear. All right, so let's watch this. So remember, you have to stand. You cannot move. You got to stand in one place, and you're in the hot, and it's terrible. And this dude collapsed. Okay, this dude in the front of the line collapsed. Now, you would think somebody might rush to his defense. No. They don't even blink at their comrade who has just collapsed in front of them. But they are prepared for this because this apparently happens all the time and is regular, because I want you to watch what's happening in the background. So we're seeing this right here. We're seeing this. This is, by the way, this is a video and I've got it paused. We're seeing this guy. He's already collapsed. So he's collapsed on the ground and it looks like he's still playing. Like it looks like he's still trying to play that. But I want you to watch in the background, because in the background, right around here, you're going to see people scurrying like with a stretcher, like they're going to get somebody else, like somebody else has collapsed. And then when the people with the stretcher scurry this way, you're going to see a whole nother group of people. It's like a Benny Hill skit. You're going to see another group of people slowly approaching. They're running from a great distance. It looks like they were a mile away and they are running to get this guy. Just watch this video and just remember, England is absurd. Oh, now they're going to play. Is he playing? All right, so here comes some people. Here they come. Man down! Man down! Well, start to come. I look at the other guy. There's another guy. Another guy dropped. Look at that. They're gonna walk them away. Absurd. England is absolutely absurd. Magic people, stupid rules that don't deal in reality. If you're marching and a little kid walks in front of you, you stop, or one person moves the little kid out of the way. You don't trample the little kid. You're not existing in reality. When one of your guys drops dead, or how about this? How about this? Instead of, what is this? Some bizarre show of fealty towards the monarch that you must stand in blazing heat for hours. Why not just go, hey, you guys, it's going to be a while. You want to like take a seat, you take your hat off. That would be how you would treat normal people. But no, England is absurd. England is ridiculous. Magic people and all kinds of other absurd things. Crocs. Crocs are trending. Why are Crocs trending? This is something that my son's mother pointed out to me the other day, and I have been a couple weeks ago, and I have been just seeing this everywhere. So Crocs, plastic shoes, right? They were a big thing like 20 years ago. People had them. Then they became really uncool. And everybody was like, Crocs, that's pretty lame. Croc, you know what I mean? So we got rid of the Crocs. So Crocs went away. But now they're saying, you should be buying Crocs. You should be buying Croc stock because Crocs are going like through the roof. A couple weeks ago, we were at my son's football, first high school football practice assembly thing or whatever. And I'm standing there with my son's mom. And she goes, look at everybody's shoes. And I'm looking around. I'm like, everybody's wearing Crocs. She goes, everybody wears Crocs. Every kid wears Crocs. And ours doesn't. Mason doesn't wear Crocs. I don't know. He doesn't seem interested in it. But I have been looking now. Look at teenagers. Teenagers are wearing Crocs, man. They are back. They are everywhere. Crocs. Brand perception is no longer weak as it was in the past. Crocs' strong growth recently, driven by successful marketing and celebrity collaborations, has changed the company's perception and made it an interesting investment option. Crocs are currently trading at $125 per share. They say it's undervalued. Anyway, the whole story is about how Crocs were basically dead as a brand and as a company. And now all of a sudden, all of these Gen Z kids are wearing Crocs. They're everywhere. They're everywhere. Look at them all. Pretty girls, Jocko boys, nerdy girls, awkward boys. They're all wearing Crocs. It's great. There you go. I don't care. Plastic shoes. I'll never wear them. I like flip-flops. Do you know I've never had Crocs? I shouldn't say that I would never wear Crocs because I don't know. I've never worn them. They just don't look like they'd be comfortable. They look like they would give me, I have sensitive feet. They look like they would give me blisters, like they would rub on the sides. So I've never, I like a flip-flop. I got my Under Armour flip-flops, or I guess they're not flip-flops. They're slides. What are they called? Are flip-flops and slides different? Because I always say, give me my flip-flops. And my kid goes, they're slides. I'm like, okay, you're just going to fight me on everything, aren't you? All right. Crocs are back. How exciting is that? That's very exciting. A couple of TV reboots that I want to tell you about. A couple of TV shows that are coming back. Do I care about either one of them? Let's see here. A couple of classic TV shows. So they're bringing back Bewitched. Settle down. I know. Like if they were going to be like I Dream of Jeannie or Bewitched, which would you rather? I'd rather Bewitched because I like Bewitched better. I thought Bewitched was a better show. I thought Bewitched was a little bit more sophisticated. I think the genie struck me as, dare I say, whorish, willing to do anything for Major Anthony Nelson to please him. Which, as a youngster, I was like, I don't know why Anthony Nelson isn't taking advantage of her willingness to basically do anything, and that upset me. Bewitched was a little more, I don't know, Sam on Bewitched was a little bit more sophisticated, and Darren was married to her and they had kids. So we knew that was going on. So we knew Darren was taking advantage of that. I don't know. I just like Bewitched better. So Bewitched is being turned into a new show. That's right. There's a reboot of Bewitched coming, but don't get excited because it's animated. I don't care. I don't give a crud about you know what I mean? I just show me, really make a remake of Bewitched. I would like to see that. I would like to see a modern, actually, no, I wouldn't. I would never watch that. I'm sitting here now going, I would watch that. And then I'm thinking, no, I would probably not watch that. The beloved series will be animated by producers for its new era. The Hollywood Reporter first reported on Bewitched, recommissioned by Sony Pictures Television. Beginning in 1964, the show saw a witch named Samantha married to an ordinary human called Darren. The late Elizabeth Montgomery played the role of Samantha, while Darren was originally portrayed by Dick York before being replaced by Dick Sargent. I also like that. I wasn't cynical yet when I first noticed that they replaced Darren. And I was one of the people who gave the new Darren, Dick Sargent, a shot. I like Dick Sargent as Darren. I like Dick York as Darren too. It's weird. They kind of looked alike, didn't they? It's like they kind of like got two actors that sort of kind of looked like, you know what I'm saying? Bewitched new series is going to focus on Samantha and Darren's teenage daughter, Tabitha. It will follow her as she juggles being a witch and a middle school student. Oh, so it's not even going to be like a cool animation. It's not going to be like a Seth MacFarlane animation. It's going to be like middle school girl. Meanwhile, 17 years after its last episode was screened, here's the one. Now, here's the one you might be excited about. That's why I wanted to talk about this 1 second, because I got way more hot takes on this one. Ladies and gentlemen, Malcolm in the Middle is coming back. Malcolm in the Middle, and not animated. Bryan Cranston. Bryan Cranston was the last one that they were waiting for, and Bryan Cranston, star of the show, Bryan Cranston has revealed that he will be involved in the reboot after being approached by show creator Linwood Boomer. In a new interview with GQ, Cranston shared his intention to bring the program back to life once his duties with Wes Anderson's zany Asteroid City film are complete. And that means now. Cranston said, "I'm curious about that family 20 years later. What happened to them? Where are they? What are the kids doing? They're grown men now." That's a big one, man, to get Bryan Cranston back, because Bryan Cranston's a big star. You know what I mean? Bryan Cranston, people forget that maybe he was, before he was Walter White, he was the dad on Malcolm in the Middle. That's big. Bryan Cranston being one. I will now watch it because of Bryan Cranston. I didn't watch Malcolm in the Middle. I didn't. That was not a show that was on my radar. And I remember not watching it because Malcolm in the Middle was on Sunday nights, right? And I used to work at a bar on Sunday nights when that show was on. I was tending bar at Fiddler Dunn's, and I used to hold down this Sunday night party that we used to do. And I remember looking over. I remember Malcolm in the Middle always being on over the bar. I'm like, okay. All right. But I never watched it because I was working. But that's a good one. I have seen it. Like, I have seen it in reruns and stuff like that. And it's very funny. It is a funny show. I think my mom likes that show. No. My mom likes the show The Middle. The Middle is another show I never watched. And I don't know why. It was just a sitcom. I just never got around to it. But The Middle is also supposed to be a good show. My mom says it. My mom's got good taste. Seriously, it's like, your mom says she likes it. No, my mom's got good taste. The Middle I've never watched. Malcolm in the Middle I've only seen in parts. But Malcolm in the Middle is coming back, so I'll get to watch it again. All right, guys, that's going to do it. Look at us, 2 minutes up here on the top of the hour. I gave you 2 hours of all the breaking news, headlines, current events, hot topics, all of that. I told you a little bit about the things that unfolded on this day in history. We celebrated birthdays. We talked about people who've died. We have done everything. I have come through on my portion of the obligation, and you have as well. Thank you for being with us today. Now let's jump in, as we'd like to do towards the end of the show. Let's jump in and check out the trends and see if there's anything that has occurred during the past 2 hours that maybe I missed. Oh, Jesus. I just look at this and it's like, Keith Olbermann is trending. I'm so tired of people who are famous just for being political contrarians. Oh, Daniil Hunter. What is happening with Daniil Hunter? I'm interested in this because, Daniil Hunter is an edge rusher. He's pretty good. And the Daniil Hunter, is he going to the Panthers? Kevin Seifert. Tom Pelissero. Okay, I'll trust him. Tom Pelissero says 3-time Pro Bowl defensive end Daniil Hunter, or is it Daniil? I'm not sure. Daniil Hunter plans to skip the Vikings mandatory mini camp. The sides haven't seen eye to eye in a new contract. Reported Minnesota has received trade calls, and now one of the NFL's top pass rushers is officially a holdout. Minnesota's stripping everything down. Delvin Cook, there's a Thielen last year. They're stripping everything down. And Daniil Hunter is definitely someone I'm interested in. As a fan of the Chicago Bears, definitely interested in Daniil Hunter. Also Chase Young. All of a sudden, it's funny. As a Bears fan, we had no defense. We focused on offense, and we focused on rebuilding our offensive line, and then we made some really big moves with our middle linebackers, and we've got a really incredible middle linebacker core. But our offensive line is just that. We took 3 draft picks for our offensive line, so we've got nothing. We need like an edge guy. We need like a scary edge guy. And right now it looks like Chase Young in Washington might be available. Daniil Hunter might be available. Frank Clark's gone. That's fine. I didn't want Frank. How about Ogun Bugagaga? There's that guy, Ogun Bugagaga. He'd be good too. I don't know. Football has really become a 12-month sport. They've done a really good job. Football has really. Oh wait, it's okay to watch football. No, we don't need to go there. I got into an argument with somebody this weekend about whether or not it was okay to watch football because this person was talking about football. And I vividly recall this person being done with the NFL. I remember that. So I got into one of those arguments with somebody this week. Not an argument, a playful jabbing of a friend who was not to be taken serious. And I told him that. I said, look, we're just having fun here. Whatever, that's fine. You are comfortable being someone who is not to be taken serious, is what I said to him. What? What do you mean? I go, you can't be taken serious. A couple of years ago, you said you were never going to watch the NFL again. And now here you are. You're running like 5 fantasy leagues and you're obsessed with the Cowboys. What happened? You are not a serious person. You just spout off and say stupid shit because you're an emotional infant. I don't know what you're mad at me. I'm just telling you like it is. Actually, I didn't go that far. Why is Grimace trending? Why is Grimace trending? Oh, I appalled people this weekend out at the lake. I was trying we were getting into a conversation. So, do you know what I've done? Do you guys like KFC bowls? Such a random conversation starter. Do you guys like KFC bowls? Like where it's like, I call it a bowl of defeat. It's like, it's just like if you're eating a bowl, basically it's a bucket of food. So here's what the bowl is. I love the bowl. I love the bowl concept because I'm a slob, right? But I own that. I know that I'm a slob. So the bowl concept is easy. You get a plate and you get a little chicken on your plate. You get a little mashed potatoes on your plate, a little gravy. You get some corn, maybe a little bit of mac and cheese there on your plate. You got all these things on your plate, right? So what what KFC did was years ago, this isn't new technology. I believe I can talk about this openly. These aren't trade secrets. So what they did was they took that plate that we all got, and they just got a bucket, and they just went, and they just put it all in a bucket, and then gave you a spoon, and you get to just like a walrus at SeaWorld. You're just like, bark, bark, just shoving it into your mouth. And my whole point is if you've reached that point in your life where, food being separated on the plate is just too much, that you just need it all pre-mixed, you've given up. So that's why I call it the bowl of defeat. Now, I happen to love the bowl of defeat. Okay. Everything that I just described there is true, but also delicious. It is delicious, especially if you can get some cranberry. It's got to be like the funky canned cranberry. Don't get fancy with cranberry. I hate these people. I hate these. This is real freshly smashed cranberries. Yeah, it tastes like garbage. You know what tastes good? That canned jellied cranberry. That's what I'm geared towards. So if you get some of that, and you just slice it, and then you put that on top. Anyway, my point is this. I have, over the past couple of weeks, I have started to get creative with bowl technology. I have been eating bowl technology. I've been using either mashed potatoes or rice as the basis for everything, and then chicken, and then some vegetables and all, and then you just mix it up. So over the weekend, I was trying to sell my kid on bowl technology, on how we were at the lake, and he goes, I'm hungry. I want Jimmy John's, right? He's like, wants Jimmy John's. And I'm like, no, dude, I'm making a bowl of defeat when we go home, and you're eating that with me. And he gets so mad. He's like, I don't want your bowl of defeat. I want a real meal. So I made him a bowl of defeat. And guess what? Finally, after throwing a temper tantrum and guess what? He's eating. That's actually pretty good. I go, yeah, it's good. You're damn right it's good. It's everything on the plate just in a bucket. And you eat it like a walrus because you've given up on life. You add some mac and cheese in there. Oh my God, it's potatoes. Here's how I like the classic potatoes, chicken. So like get chicken breast and chop it up and all that. So bowl of mashed potatoes, chicken on top of that, niblet corn, sweet niblet corn poured all over that, and then gravy. Like, I think the mac and cheese is a little much, then gravy. And if you got it, then like a cranberry, just like a little cranberry on top. You slice it really nice, and you just eat it with a bowl. It's delicious. My kid agreed. Sounds terrible. So we're having this conversation where I'm trying to convince him on how we're going to go home. We're going to have these incredible bowls of defeat. And one of the girls who was always out on the boat with us, she goes, what are you cooking him for dinner? And I go, I've mastered the KFC bowl. And she goes, and she's like a really petite girl, like really thin and all that. She goes, KFC bowls are incredible. I go, yeah, they are. Yeah, they are incredible. So then I had to tell her about how they are incredible and we can embrace that, but we also have to be real. There is no greater symbol of giving up dietarily than the KFC bowl. It's a give up. It's a complete give up. It's everything pre-mixed, goes all. We may as well at some point start eating our food through a straw, because that's the next step from the bowl to just straw, to just like full on turkey dinner in a milkshake. What else is trending? Why has The Athletic been trending? The Athletic seems to me to be a terrific terrific sports magazine, sports journalistic platform. I don't know what it is. Here's the problem. Every story that The Athletic has that I want to read, they always hit me with a paywall. So I always go, yep, nope, not going to read that. But The Athletic has been trending all morning long. Why is The Athletic trending? Did they break a story? No, because then that story would have been trending. So it took The Athletic, 5 years to go through the tech cycle. 1, claim you are changing the game. 2, invest an unsustainable amount of capital. 3, sell. 4, begin layoffs and change mission to be exactly the same as the orgs you originally claimed were doing things. Okay, so what is going on with, is The Athletic going out of business? With the news of further layoffs at The Athletic. Okay, so it's layoffs. With the news, it's too bad. I understand it's very good. I've never read one story in The Athletic because I always get hit with that paywall. But I can tell you, they write some incredibly interesting headlines. Here's how platforms die. First, they are good to their users. Then they abuse their users to make things better for their business customers. Finally, they abuse those business customers to claw back all the value for themselves. Then they die. Okay, whatever. So apparently, I'm looking for an actual news story about this. I'm not seeing anything official. Boy, this is so much easier when, the only people with blue checks were like people who you knew were credible, who were tied in. I can't be reading like shit just because it's a blue check now. Athletic has laid off 20 people. All right, so that's why The Athletic has been trending. Apparently there's trouble. Look, I know a number of people. I know personally a number of people who write for The Athletic, but you can't, these paywalls, man, you can't, if you want to be widely read and appreciated, you cannot have paywalls. You have to allow your content to be freely shared. Now, that does provide an issue with how to monetize this creative work. Well, you got to do that with advertising. You got to be able to sell advertising on your site. You got to be able to sell the pop-ups and all that kind of stuff. I don't know what else to tell you. Because if you simply go, here's what you want to read, and you must pay me to read this piece, you're not going to make any money that way. People don't want to read that badly. People are going to be like, this is interesting. Let me click on it. Oh, now you're asking for $7 a month? Yeah, no, don't care. Moving on. There's a lot of other free content. This is why we're all so stupid. This is why so many of us have bad information. This is why so many of us hear things that, we think are news and then start reporting them to our friends and talking about, and then it turns out that's not true at all. And then you look stupid. Why? Because every piece of crucial information in America is now hiding behind a paywall. And I'm talking about the legitimate news gathering organizations. I'm talking about newspapers. I'm talking about paywalls. This is why we're stupid, because we can't trust legacy sites. Well, not that we can't trust them. We can't access them. We can't get the actual story. So what we get are people who don't hide behind paywalls, who put up a banner, who make it look like it's a real newspaper, and then they just start agendizing whatever information that they have and spoon-feeding it to people who are then going to spout it. And suddenly that's become the story. Journalism is broken, and it's all because of paywalls. I don't have an answer for it. I'm just working through that right now on the air. I'm just working through it. Why is Anita Baker trending? Is Anita Baker dead? When somebody like that trends, I always go, they're dead. Can't believe people coming for Anita Baker. What'd she do? She do something wrong? People coming for Anita Baker? Who is Anita Baker? I couldn't name an Anita Baker song. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's happening. All right, guys, I'm out. We're done. I got nothing else to do. We're going to do a show tonight at 9:00. Pugs and Parker with E will be on tonight at 9:00. We'll be doing, current events, hot topics, whatever it is. I don't know. We'll get into something. You should be there. We do it Monday through Thursday at 9:00. And then we'll be back tomorrow with more of this. The High Noon Stream, current events, hot topics, all that stuff, every Monday through Friday at noon. Former President Donald Trump has arrived in Florida ahead of his Okay, what's he having for lunch? I need President Trump's lunch menu. I need to know that he's eating properly. Ugh. Is there going to be, like, it's already started today. I mean, tomorrow's the day. Tomorrow he's going to be in court. We're not going to see anything. There's not going to be any video. We can look forward to the sketch artists' renderings of, trying to get the tenor and tone of Adam Reyna's snarky. Yeah, suggests snarkiness. Yeah, journalism didn't work for a century because of paywalls. Man, that is a disingenuous argument. That is a totally different era of distribution, totally different way to disseminate information. Don't be disingenuous, Adam. You're a smart guy. Those kinds of arguments are beneath you. Yes, let's compare journalism of 1910. Let's compare Horace Greeley's view on journalism with that of the modern day New York Times editorial board, because I'm sure they're compatible, Adam. Stop it. Stop it. The free flow of information is crucial to an informed society. How dare you push back? Why would you push? Is it your inherent need to be a contrarian that causes you to push back on things such as this? I don't understand it. But I'm glad you're here. Because nobody makes me want to come in here and get my passionate juices flowing quite the way Adam Reyna does. Except for Jeff Ballard. He does it too. Byron does it. You all do it. You all provide me with my life force every Monday through Friday at noon, and I'm so glad you do. Love you. See you tonight at 9. Bye, guys. On a never-ending quest. I am on a never-ending quest.